What's up, Nerfherders? We're here. It has been a long time, at least video-wise.
Yes, video, trailer review.
Yeah. But we got Seth here, Gerald, and new addition Josh is jumping in to make it a three-way, just for fun. Just for fun. So, San Diego Comic-Con came in and dropped a crap load of trailers.
Crap load.
And we aren't going to react to all of them, because some of them we have all seen. And then also trailers just around San Diego Comic-Con weren't even there.
Right.
But they released around the same time just to kind of like feed off of the hype. So welcome to our trailer reaction marathon. There's going to be several videos. They're all going to be posted as quickly as I can possibly get them out. Mm-hmm. But we're going to open up with Star Trek Picard because I think this is one of them that you guys are most excited about.
Yes.
Heck yes.
Very.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to let me kind of feed off of that excitement because I was never really a big Trek fan.
Right.
I was always way more Star Wars.
Yes.
Okay.
It's okay to be both.
I can appreciate both, but I'm more of a Trekkie.
Yeah, see, I can appreciate both and don't really... I think I pull a little more towards Star Wars, but I have just as much into Star Trek. And I think a lot of it with Star Trek is just that there's... With Star Wars, you have all of the merchandise that goes with it, and it's so awesome. Where Star Trek, they need to step up their game.
Merchandise,
and like because like the action figures they have and stuff are like the old school and just
yeah.
I think the reason I never really got into Star Trek was simply because I wasn't much of a TV watcher, and so I didn't really jump in on the show. I was able to sit down and watch a movie with Star Wars. Like looking back on it, like I've seen some episodes. I feel like I would have enjoyed it if I had actually sat down and watched it. But when I was younger and I was in the house where we had cable TV and I could have watched it, I never got around to it.
We didn't have cable, but every night when I was little, we'd watch Star Trek Next Generation, and there'd be like a half hour of news, and then there'd be MASH, and then the original series, Star Trek, would come on. Okay. So that would be my nights when I was a kid.
You had like the same nightly routine I did pretty much then, because there's very few shows that my dad would watch, and my dad ruled the TV if he was in the room.
Right.
Even if he was taking a nap on the couch, I'm watching that. And so
you guys are going to be familiar with this character. I love most things that Patrick Stewart is in, so sure. I mean, I could give this a shot just on that alone.
Name one thing that you don't love. I'm like, he's never done anything bad.
Exactly.
I'm just hoping that this is different from his most recent stuff, because he is old man, Patrick Stewart now, and I know this, but he's been old man Professor X. He's been doing these older versions of his roles, and I just hope Picard isn't too similar to that. I mean, I know it's in a different universe, but I hope there's some separation.
Yes.
Are you wanting there to be like do you think that somebody watching this show would need to be familiar with the previous iterations in order to get certain story elements that are going to be coming up? Because obviously they're going to make it stand on its own. Sure,
if they're smart, they'll make it stand on its own. But I hope it has enough in it to be recognizable as connection.
A lot of throwbacks.
That if you have, because the characters they've already announced that are coming back aren't all from Next Generation. There's was the Voyager.
Well, let's we'll go ahead and we'll just jump in here, and let's give her a watch.
All right.
Let's turn the volume up on it, shall we?
But we don't have to hear it, do we?
No, we don't have to hear it at all. Here, we'll go back here.
Okay, so this is the vineyard that he always wanted to have.
Stranger to yourself.
Many times.
CBS All Access.
Nearly 2 decades ago, Commander Data sacrificed his life for me.
Bleak?
These past few years,
I wonder if that's really him.
really tried to belong here. But it never truly felt like home.
Do you know who I am? Everything inside of me says that I'm safe with you.
Admiral, I have encountered a woman. She came to me for help. If she is who I think she is, she's in serious danger.
I don't know, she just kicked a guy off of a stairway, I think.
Right.
Sometimes I worry that you have forgotten who you
I remember that episode.
We do not.
You can't do it alone. You need help. You need protection. You need a crew. Be the captain they remember. She has no idea what she truly is.
She's the end of all. She's the destroyer.
Borg.
Oh.
What the hell are you doing out here, Picard? Saving the galaxy.
7 of 9. Of course, if it's Borg related.
Engage.
Oh.
Okay. Okay.
I don't want the game to end.
I can see that, Captain.
That dude's got some jaundice going on.
And now it's
Those
in
eyes, yeah.
HD.
Data. Now, so I recognize him. It's Data.
Right.
So like I recognize certain elements of it, but a lot of that didn't look like nothing really looked familiar to me.
So what was the last movie? Was it Nemesis or Insurgents?
I think it was Insurgents.
Whatever it was, Data died at the end. He like sacrificed himself to save the crew, and he blew up. So I'm wondering if that's really him or if that's like another.
Isn't he like a cyborg though? Like is that
Android.
And
He's
okay,
an android, yeah, but I mean, it was like an explosion in space. So is that really him, or is that just like another model of him that he keeps as like a
But the
memorial?
thing is, though, is that like there's so many different levels of Star Trek going on there with the characters. Because
Yeah.
wasn't the blonde girl, isn't she from?
She's from Voyager, but
No, Voyager. But the other one, isn't she from? What's the newest one that was the Discovery?
The blonde? I didn't recognize. I'm not.
Let's
caught
go
up
back
on
for our
Discovery.
second watch.
Right, that she was the roommate to Michael's roommate in Discovery.
Was she?
I think.
How does that make sense? Discovery's like
Or I'm-
hundreds
or,
of years in
or it's
in
one
the
of those
past.
where she looks
Oh.
like her.
Yeah.
Let's check this out again.
Have
You guys
ever
can
been
duke
a
it out on this
stranger
one.
to yourself?
I love that he's got his vineyard.
I'm gonna watch on this monitor this time.
Many, many times. Nearly 2 decades ago.
So this is gonna be the first show that starts off like streaming wars between the major networks now.
His
No,
life
it's not.
for me.
No. CBS,
Because
All
for
Access,
years,
Fox will be
I
next.
really tried to belong here,
He's got that dog.
but it never truly felt like home.
This just feels
Do
like
you
a
know who I
Logan
am?
thing to me.
Everything
girl
inside of
seeking
me
him
says
out for
that I'm
help.
safe with you.
Yeah.
It's the Logan storyline.
I
So you
have
think
encountered a
Data's
woman.
daughter,
She
maybe?
came to me for
Data's
help.
daughter? No.
Is he an android?
She's an
She is
android.
who I
Why
say
would?
she is.
I think she's Borg.
She's
like a
in
Borg
serious
daughter.
danger.
So is that dude like a hologram, or was that them like warping him, like
That
I think
transporter.
that
like
was
were they like
teleporting.
transporting him to stop
Yeah.
him from like a deadly fall?
I
or
think that's what
something?
had happened. Captain Picard Day, he always hated that.
So that thing said we've gone like however many days without an assimilation. What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, assimilation is what the Borg do to
There
people.
was the blonde I was
You need
talking
a crew.
about. Back there.
Be the
Right
captain
there.
they remember.
Okay. And that's definitely a different ship setup with the holograms instead of just a screen.
I don't think we saw any like
Has no
of the
idea
actual
what
ship.
She truly is.
I don't think there's a shot of the ship itself.
She's the end of all. She's the destroyer.
So there's the Borg. And then with 7 of 9 showing up, the girl's
What the
got
hell
to
are you
be
doing
Borg.
out here, Picard? Saving the galaxy.
Engage.
So one of the cast members in this was in the Next Generation as a Borg guy that rebelled, and so I feel like this is either his daughter or something, but I feel like that it's going to be pulling in from that. So it's definitely calling back stuff from the old show. I'm sure they'll flashback it and everything, but it's got a lot of vibes bringing in the old show. So
And looking at her again, that's not the same.
it's not okay.
No, so
yeah,
I don't-
I'm
there's
behind on Discovery, so I don't know.
Yeah. Although
I'm not familiar at all. Like,
although Discovery's jumping 1,000 years forward.
Yeah, yeah. So this looks like he said 2 decades. So Insurgents, at the end of Insurgents, he was going off with a ship to explore new things, so who knows how far from that this is, but he's definitely retired and he's missing it, and he hated kids. I love that. He started off TNG hating kids. That was a huge part of his character, and now he's kind of like helping this young woman, and so yeah.
Young-ish.
Youngish. I mean, she's not a kid, but still. Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, it shows that he grew on his scientific exploration mission.
Sure.
And
Well, I mean, I guess we won't. I guess that was really just a teaser trailer.
Right.
It really
Well, it's
didn't.
more than the last teaser trailer. Last
have
teaser
more
was just him.
questions.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm
am as well.
excited.
I'm gonna check this one out if I decide to get CBS All Access, or if I find a friend who has a password they can let me use. There you go. But yeah, other than that, my initial reactions were it looks like a space fantasy show, and it looked pretty
it's going to be awesome.
pretty run of the mill for a space fantasy thing.
It's a cry for help from CBS because their their streaming thing has not done well. In fact, they've started to put some of their streaming shows on TV during the summer to kind of offset it. So, I mean, and Discovery has not been doing well since the day it started.
Well.
So I feel like this is just like they're trying to save some grace here. They're bringing back Picard. Of all the people they could bring back, they're giving him a show. So, I mean, they're trying to get people to subscribe to their service. So if this doesn't do it, I don't know what will.
Yeah, it's
It's not going to make me
like,
subscribe, but I'll watch the show somehow.
Like, do we know, is this just going to be on their streaming site, or are they going to air this on regular TV
All of their
as well?
shows, they've sworn if it premieres on their streaming site, it won't be on TV. But that started to change this summer as they've been needing to fill some content. So
See, that's kind of a conflicting thing to me, because you're going to have people who aren't going to want to subscribe based off of just a few like network exclusive programs, when Hulu shows a lot of programs from like all sorts of different networks.
right.
This is obviously going to be an exclusive. I don't see them giving this to a third party at all, because I mean they had the CBS All Access in the trailer like the entire time. So I don't know, like this just kind of like the first thing that this makes me think of, and I mean I work in the industry for streaming and video services and stuff like that. So the first thing this makes me think of is that subscribers aren't like they're not getting like catered a la carte TV packages.
Right.
And so now networks are just opening up streaming services, trying to push their original content there. And then eventually you're going to have people who are just paying for a few different... A lot of people are going to find that exciting, but I mean, if a lot of them end up getting out there and they all push exclusive content, I mean, how many different streaming services are you actually going to want to subscribe to?
It just doesn't make sense. The model doesn't make sense to me. Like, it used to be if you paid for cable, you would get the online content of whatever channels you had. So now they expect you to pay for cable to have CBS or have an antenna, and then also pay for CBS's streaming stuff.
Well, I would think that the stuff that they air on their... Like, if you're paying for the service, I think the stuff that they air on regular TV would still show up in the streaming platform.
Yeah.
It would not make sense if they didn't do it that way.
But you mentioned Hulu. Hulu, you get their own content plus the content from all these other different channels.
Yeah.
Who would buy a streaming service for just one channel? That's not Disney, because Disney has everything, you know.
Yeah, Disney's one that I'll definitely be doing.
But I mean, but the show itself looks good. I'm as a Star Trek fan, I'm super excited to see Picard come back. I think they could do a lot of really cool stuff.
I'm very intrigued to see how they're going to tie everything together with having the different iterations of Star Trek with Voyager and
I've heard there's some other cameos. I heard Riker comes back and Deanna Troi and
it's going to be
so.
But then again, is it one
I'm
of
there
those,
for those cameos.
Do
man.
they come back as memories or flashbacks or
Yeah,
his
I think
imagination kind of thing?
Him playing cards with Data, I think that's a hologram. I don't
Right.
think that's really Data. I think he's developed a hologram to keep himself from going insane. But,
Right.
Yeah.
He's got
I
a
think
friend in
Data's
Data.
dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Or he grabbed another model, but that model doesn't like have any memory of like their previous stuff.
Right,
or something
memory
like that.
or development, because that was the whole thing with Star Trek, is that Data was this just flat-faced, computer programmed android in the beginning, and then he developed over time to become more human. So even if he found another model, it wouldn't be that version of Data unless they did something. But, yeah.
I did like that there were a lot of like for Data's face, like didn't look like they like CGI'd anything except maybe his eyes, but those almost look like color contacts too. So it was like all still practical effects.
He definitely he's aged a little bit, but he still he still looks like the part. Yeah.
But like back in the original show, from like the very few episodes I've seen, there was a lot of practical effects in that show that they had to use, and
well, most of it was.
I want to see more stuff like that.
Like I remember, there's Mark and Brian, big Southern California national DJs that had a morning show that they did a guest star on Next Generation and stuff like that, and talked about how they had to sit there and makeup and everything and all that kind of stuff. And
I mean, Geordie LaForge, the Reading Rainbow guy, when he did the Reading Rainbow crossover with Star Trek and kind of did the behind the scenes, I love that episode. That was fantastic. Worlds colliding.
Exactly. Great. But what are your thoughts out there on the new series? Is it worth picking up the CBS Access? I'm kind of on the other end where I have subscriptions to almost all of them.
Yeah, I hear the outlier there.
That only for the simple fact that I don't like to have to go try to hunt it down, and if I really want to watch it then and there, I'll get it. Like because I've got Netflix, Hulu, Prime, CBS. There's some of them.
You already have CBS.
I already have CBS, but I got that one for Discovery.
Right.
And then they've got some other shows on there that watch here and there. But it's one of those where I almost feel that like CBS could merge with like Hulu or one of these
they
other.
Weren't stubborn. I feel like they're stubborn.
Right. I think that's what they're going to have to do to fight Disney.
Well, if that was an option if that was an option on the table, I'm sure they would have like gone that route already. This seems more like they're trying to push more towards their own intellectual property without having to split the pot.
They don't want to share Star Trek, and somehow they're making the money. But I mean, we don't condone illegal activities, but I feel like there's got to be a large majority of people that are torrenting the crap out of the Star Trek Discovery, and I'm sure they're going to do the same for this. And I really wonder how they're making their money on this.
I mean, when you push more paid content and restrict it, like the more you restrict something, the more piracy you're going to end up with.
Right.
Like, there's no real way around it.
Right.
Even with all the Marvel stuff that got announced at SCCC that we talked about on our podcast, that just our most recent episode of that.
Listen to that.
A lot of that stuff is going to get pirated too, just because the pool of people who are going to be making that available is going to be so big that inevitably there's going to be a lot of piracy in there too. I mean, because Game of Thrones was one of the most pirated shows.
But they could afford it.
And that but that was also a private property. Like it wasn't a basic cable package.
Right.
So you had to subscribe to something in there just to get a hold of that, and then they had their own streaming service that they had to do there as well.
Yeah, I mean that's HBO versus CBS All Access.
Right,
there's crazy difference in the amount of content you're getting, and the quality of content.
But it's the same principle.
It is the same
we're running
principle.
into. Like you're making something, you're putting a paywall behind something.
Right.
People are going to work their way to find ways around it.
Right.
Like, there's just I was just talking about borrowing your password to maybe check this show out. Like it's there's.
But most of us
isn't
have
enough
paid
to get me
for
excited.
HBO at some point.
Yes.
I did pay for HBO.
I think two out of three of us won't pay for CBS All Access to watch this. So I think that says something.
Yeah. We're going to have a watch party for Picard. We're not sharing passwords or anything. We're going to have a watch party.
Just for the FBI guy watching.
We've said it on camera. We're safe.
Yes.
But thanks for dialing in, Nerfherders. We gotta roll through these because we got
more trailers to watch. Clearly.
Questions, comments.
We gotta catch up.
Yeah, questions, comments below. We're gonna answer them in the podcasts, and we will.
Or if you have another trailer that we haven't done.
We're doing the salute.
We've got like 5 more of these to do. Later, Nerfherders.